next on the news.
There was always supposed to be more time, Jesse.
Jesse Gerhardt's dream was to be a firefighter, and he died living it. A final salute to one of New York's bravest. And they're off. Truckers with their eyes set on the nation's capital, determined to shut down D.C.'s Beltway. But will they? The National Guard is on standby. Plus, pleas for peace. The Pope tries to get through to Putin. Is it too late? Then this.
We're just determined to go out there and do our best and show the world that we are going to keep on dancing.
Bouncing back, the dancing grannies won't let the Waukesha Christmas Parade carnage define them. They're getting back out on the same street where they lost their friends. I'm Jessica Easthope. Currents News starts right now. Firefighters say a final farewell to a fallen brother, lining the streets and filling the pews in an emotional goodbye to a life gone too soon. It's a somber day for the FDNY and all 17,000 members. In his time with the department, Jesse Gerhardt held the title of EMT and firefighter, with the most strenuous job you could have, an irons man. And now one more. For the rest of eternity, his rank will forever be hero. A look into the life of a hero. Jesse Gerhardt's legacy as a son, uncle, friend, and firefighter lives on in the memories of those closest to him.
Jesse Gerhardt is the type of person a firefighter would describe if he was asked to build the perfect firefighter. He did his job. He did it well. He never complained, and he made everyone around him feel safer in the face of peril.
That perfect firefighter made the ultimate sacrifice. Last week, Gerhardt collapsed at his Far Rockaway firehouse and was rushed to St. John's Episcopal Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A day before, Gerhardt was doing what he loved, working as an FDNY irons man, the most strenuous job in the department, breaking down the door of this burning home to help rescue victims from a raging fire.
Protecting the lives and property of everyday New Yorkers was his chosen profession, his dream job. A job, not work.
Jesse was also a volunteer firefighter in his hometown of Islip, where he and his family go to church. They're now leaning on their faith and parish community after his sudden passing.
This is not the end. That someday we will see him again. Maybe not tomorrow or next month or next year, but we will see him again.
Please know how much we love you and how we share with you in this moment.
Jesse's selflessness in life and on the job is continuing in death. He's a tissue donor. And according to Live On New York, 50 to 75 people's lives will be changed thanks to his donation. His family, though they have much to be proud of, say all they want is more time.
I want one more day, just to show you how much we loved you.
Gerhardt's exact cause of death is still undetermined. Heart attacks are the #1 cause of death in firefighters nationwide. In the meantime, an FDNY union leader wants the department to investigate whether Gerhardt's death and 2 other recent firefighter deaths could have resulted from a COVID shot. The FDNY's safety command looks into all line-of-duty deaths, and these 3 recent deaths, all relatively young men, are still being investigated. An FDNY spokesperson said the department has agreed to work with the union to make sure the investigations are completed and an exact cause of death is determined. And on the topic of vaccines, the National Guard is being summoned to the nation's capital just in case they have to help local authorities there manage a mandate protest. About 700 troops are set to be deployed around D.C. to assist with traffic control when a caravan of truckers arrive. The protests set to begin next week are against pandemic restrictions, and no one is quite sure just how big they'll get. The Pentagon said the Guard members will be unarmed and they will not take part in any surveillance activities. On the flip side, the organizers of the Freedom Trucker convoys promised the protests will be peaceful, but they also promised something else. They're vowing to shut down D.C.'s busy Beltway. Sarah Goulden has the story from Scranton as one of the group sets off.
We're taking our country back. Without our trucks, you have nothing. The convoy, led by Bob Bolus, plans to leave from Scranton Wednesday morning and head to the D.C. Beltway, with major stops in Harrisburg and Baltimore.
We're picking up trucks all the way along. Convoys are going to join with us on the intersection of 80-81.
Bolus, who founded Towers and Truckers of America, says this peaceful protest is about sending a message to the Biden administration.
He's killed our economy. People are losing their homes. You can't operate your transportation companies, the trucking companies. Just look at the high cost of fuel, and it's only the tip of the iceberg.
There are multiple groups planning truck convoys to D.C., and it's unclear how long the protests could last.
There's no timetable on it, and when it ends is when the administration and Congress hear our voices.
Bolus says the protesters have no intention of fighting with police. What would you say to critics who argue that this could potentially impact the safety of residents if first responders can't get easily in and out?
First responders will have no problem getting around the people. Hey, go get your stuff off your shelves now because you're not going to get it for a long time. Okay? And do we have sympathy for you? No, because you don't give a darn about us.
That was Sarah Goulden reporting. The convoys are being modeled after the recent trucker protests in Canada. They were planned through online forums with all different starting points, departure dates, and routes. Most of the convoys are scheduled to arrive in time for the president's State of the Union address on March 1st. If the truckers do succeed at choking D.C.'s Beltway, there will be even bigger supply chain issues. In an attempt to get truckers on their side, the White House is proposing a plan. It's a $450 million grant program aimed toward improving the nation's supply chain. The funds will be used to support projects that expand capacity and improve resilience for imports and exports. A White House source said the plan is to get products from ships to shelves quicker, which will also lower prices for consumers. The first grants are expected to be awarded later this year. Supply chain issues are likely to worsen because of the crisis in Ukraine, but that's the furthest thing on the mind from the Holy Father. He's worried about humanity making what he considers a final plea for peace, speaking directly to Putin and other world leaders.
Un grande dolore nel cuore per il peggioramento della situazione nell'Ucraina. Nonostante gli sforzi diplomatici delle ultime settimane, si stanno aprendo scenari sempre più allarmanti. Vorrei appellarmi a tutti, credenti e non credenti. Gesù ci ha insegnato che all'insistenza diabolica, alla insensatezza diabolica della violenza si risponde con le armi di Dio, con la preghiera e il digiuno.
Pope Francis is asking Catholics to make Ash Wednesday, March 2nd, a day of prayer and fasting for peace in the Ukraine. The pontiff also calling on politicians to, quote, refrain from any action that could bring more suffering to the people. The Pope's pleas come at the time President Biden is announcing new sanctions against Russia, a punishment for taking the first steps into Ukraine. And according to the White House, more could come at any moment. Isabel Rosales has that now.
Tough new sanctions to pressure Russia to back down from its advances on Ukraine.
It's a very broad-ranging set of sanctions, deeper than anything we've seen before.
The sanctions, punishment for what President Joe Biden calls the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine.
When all is said and done, we're going to judge Russia by its actions, not its words.
For the first time, the U.S. fully sanctioning two Russian financial institutions. Russia barred from raising money from the West.
These costs are going to escalate from here.
The U.S. taking it further to cripple the flow of money to President Vladimir Putin by going after members of his inner circle and their families.
We put on notice the oligarchy in Russia that no one is safe.
World leaders actively assessing whether these sanctions will indeed deter Putin.
I think we should still try to deter, but we also should not assume it will work.
The country already paying a hefty price. This week alone, more than $25 billion has been wiped off the value of Russian stocks. And the Russian ruble has fallen to near record lows against the dollar.
Hit Russia's economy now and hit it hard.
The West reserving some of its toughest sanctions should Russia proceed to a full-scale invasion. The so-called nuclear option would remove Russia from a key global transaction ledger, making it difficult for banks to send money in or out of the country.
Russia's already feeling the pain.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales, Currents News.
There's a lot more news headed your way.
Single file, ladies.
The Dancing Grannies making a comeback after a tragedy. They're bigger than ever before, preparing for their triumphant return to the streets of Wisconsin. And this.
Father Joseph Espaillat of the Archdiocese of New York.
He was just your average city kid, but now he's set to become the country's youngest bishop. And World Down Syndrome Day is coming. How one boy in North Dakota is taking awareness into his own hands.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
We're going to be smiling. We're going to be upbeat. We're going to be proud. There's no sadness.
Call them the Comeback Kids, a group of women determined to get back out onto the streets of Waukesha, Wisconsin, after a madman plowed down 4 of their friends. It was a Christmas parade turned into carnage, but just a few months later, the beloved Dancing Grannies are preparing to march down that same street again. They want to show the world that despite evil, everyone can keep dancing. They're still mourning, but this one's for the girls. Courtney Sisk has the story.
Right, 2.
Inside the Moose Lodge on South 13th Street.
Crossover, 2.
We're just determined to go out there and do our best and show the world that we are going to keep on dancing.
There you go. Make sure you dip.
Hard at
That's
work
it.
behind closed doors.
Just keep going around.
The Milwaukee Dancing Grannies are planning a comeback.
Rebuilding, you know, it's hard, it's exciting, it's scary.
The group lost 3 members and a volunteer in the Waukesha Christmas parade attack 3 months ago. The community is still mourning after a man plowed his SUV through the crowd.
It was unbelievably awful.
Sharon Millard was there when it happened.
Since Waukesha, I think, after the grieving, I pulled through with a lot of help from friends and some counseling. And it just kind of made me look forward to our future.
How do you move forward?
Thinking of Jenny and Lee. I think they'd be devastated if we didn't.
So with one foot in front of the other,
Single file, ladies.
and palms in hand, the Grannies began to rebuild. Is this the most amount of members who have ever wanted to join?
Definitely, definitely. We have never experienced this many people, and the ones that we do have are very enthusiastic.
There are nearly 20 Grannies in training. They'll have to learn all of the routines, dance in a parade, and make the commitment to become a Granny. And in just a few weeks, the Dancing Grannies will step back onto the streets to perform at the Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade.
We're going to be smiling. We're going to be upbeat. We're going to be proud. There's no sadness.
But there is sentiment. Ginny Sorensen, one of the fallen members, choreographed 2 Irish routines for the 2020 St. Patrick's Day Parade. COVID canceled those celebrations ever since, and the routines went unseen until now.
Realized a couple weeks ago that, oh wow, we're going to be doing these songs. She was so proud of them. We're going to be doing them for the first time publicly.
How will that be to perform those finally?
In my heart. Absolutely wonderful.
That was Courtney Sisk. In case you want to cheer them on, the Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade is set for March 12th at noon. Currents News will have coverage. And from the Dancing Grannies to this. Not a bad song, right? Well, what if I told you the rapper you're listening to will soon be the youngest bishop in the U.S.? Father Joseph Espaillat, or Father J, has just been named an auxiliary bishop for the Archdiocese of New York. And he may look familiar to you. He's been on Net TV before, helping us with papal coverage. Christine Persichetti caught up with him and asked what it was like when he got that special call from the Vatican.
I received 6 phone calls from Washington, D.C. On my day of rest on Monday. So it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I didn't pick up the call because I thought it was spam. So when I actually picked up the phone call, it was very shocking.
Yeah, I guess so, especially that you are going to be the youngest bishop in the United States. But I have to say, I love your music, and I've been checking out your podcast, Sainthood in the City. I want to show our viewers a clip.
Okay, I entered the seminary when I was 13, and being Latino, growing up in the city, I was your average city kid. However,
you went on to say that you didn't fit the mold of what people thought a priest should be or look like, and it cracked me up when you talked about listening to Snoop Dogg in the seminary. But you really know how to connect with young people. I know you previously served as director of youth ministry, so you could be a key to increasing vocations. Is that a role you've taken on?
Oh, absolutely. Vocations is very important in all aspects of church life. And it's something that I plan to continue to work towards for the kingdom of heaven. It's something that I've always had a love for, getting young people to consider the call that God might be calling them to become a priest, to become a deacon, to become a religious sister, religious brother, and also holy vocations to the married life and the lay state as well.
Yeah, and you received that call early. You were just saying in your podcast you were 13. So you knew young that you wanted to be a priest.
I didn't know exactly at 13 that I wanted to become a priest. I considered the call. It wasn't until like after college really that I knew for a fact after the spirituality year that the Lord was definitely calling me to become a priest. I was open the whole way. So when I was 13 years old, I saw this image of Our Lady, the Vobis in Matrem, and it was a draw. I felt some peace and comfort when I saw this image of Our Lady. And I applied to high school there. I didn't even know that it was really a seminary. I didn't understand what that was at age 13. But I was open to that. And praise God, he took the steering wheel.
So talk about how important technology is, like your podcast, for evangelization.
It's very important. You would understand that at current news. It's critical for us to reach the masses right now. It's critical for us to reach the young people, to evangelize in new ways. The new evangelization must involve technology, must involve social media in some way, shape, or form. And it is a way for us to do it. And during the pandemic, if we're really honest, a lot of priests went online, priesthood said, oh, I'll never do that. And guess what? You had to transmit the Mass online to reach God's people who could not be in churches. So it is a means, it is a way that we have to tap into as church and see and utilize in the right way.
All right, so one quick thing before we go. Everyone here at Currents News was talking about how you're a bit of a sneakerhead. Yeah, we noticed the kicks you were wearing on the podcast, and as a mom of boys, it's all about the sneakers. So when did you get into it?
I always, growing up in the city, always had an inkling towards getting the latest kicks and the latest sneakers. It was about 7th grade when I got my first pair of Nikes, like flashy. I remember that I got them towards the end of the school year, and for the whole summer, I put them in the box. And then when school began, I brought them back out because I didn't want to crease them and I didn't want to dirty them. So probably like 7th, 8th grade, about that time. But I couldn't afford them at the time either. So it wasn't until later that I was able to afford a pair of Jordans.
That was Father Joseph Espaillat, an auxiliary bishop-elect for the Archdiocese of New York. Father Espaillat will be ordained a bishop alongside Father John Bonici on March 1st at St. Patrick's Cathedral at 2 o'clock. Be sure to tune into Currents News and check the tablet for full coverage. Still to come on Currents News, starting a business can be a challenge, but that isn't stopping a 10-year-old.
On the outside, he may look different, but inside, he can do anything that he sets his mind to.
How this North Dakota boy is ready to show the world what he's capable of, one bath bomb at a time. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Attention all artists, the Vatican is hosting an international competition. They want you to design the official logo for the Jubilee year of 2025. According to organizers, the design should be simple and intuitive and should highlight the Holy Year's theme, Pilgrims of Hope. Participants have until May 20th to upload their submissions, and while bragging rights are the only reward for the competition, the winning logo will essentially be an international icon. Just remember, anything could happen. The logo for the Jubilee year of 2000 was designed by a 22-year-old woman. If you're interested in joining in on the fun, just head online to jubileum2025.va. There you can find a full list of the competition rules and regulations, as well as upload your design. Submissions open up at the start of April, and again, full details can be found at jubileum2025.va. He's a young businessman on a mission. Every year, 10-year-old Brody Klein finds a new way to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day. His goal, to raise awareness and to make a little cash on the side for a nonprofit that provides support for those with the condition. This year, he's using bath bombs to help spread the message. Jody Kurzman is in Mandan, North Dakota, and has their story.
Brody Klein is hard at work getting these bath bombs packaged up and ready to sell.
Oh, you're working fast.
He and his mom, Jen Klein, made them. Now they're hoping these bath bombs will help raise money for Designer Jeans, a local group that provides support for families and people with Down syndrome. They're also hoping their bath bombs might help raise awareness about Down syndrome, something Jen admits she knew nothing about when Brody was born 10 years ago.
Back when Brody was born, I was naive. I knew nothing about Down syndrome.
She quickly learned about the challenges and the rewards that come with raising a child with an extra chromosome.
Every day he makes me smile. Brody has taught me so much how to be a better mom, how to be a better parent. I think he has brought awareness to our whole family. Everybody looks at people with disabilities different now because of Brody, and I mean, he just teaches us so much more every day. We learn from him.
Lessons she hopes her son will continue teaching others.
There we go. On the outside, he may look different, but inside he can do anything that he sets his mind to.
Right now, his mind is set on getting these bath bombs ready to sell.
Can you get another one?
Brody is ready to show the world what he's capable of, one bath bomb at a time.
That was Jody Kurzman reporting, and you too can support Brody's business. He sells his bath bombs on Facebook. Just check out his page at Brody's Buddies Bath Bombs. They can cost about $1 to $2 and come in several scents and sizes. And finally tonight, one baby born in Utah came into this world with some luck on his side. Landon's birthday is going to be easy to remember. He was born on February 22nd, 2022. Yes, that's all twos. And the best part, he was born at 2:22. And if that wasn't enough, Landon will be his parents' second boy under 2 years old. I would say that 2 is definitely this family's lucky number. And that is Currents News. I'm Jessica Easthope. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.